I recently went on a New Orleans trip with my mom, sister, and best friend. And when I tell you, that was the craziest experience that I have ever been on spiritually, from the things that happened to us to the things that we saw, like the zombie lady that we saw, y'all. And I'm not talking about no brain eating zombie that's on like, TV shows. I'm talking about a real zombie. And I cannot wait to share all of that with you guys. So let's get into this story time right now. So we drove to New Orleans, and the day that we arrived, as soon as we hit that water, it was like an immediate energy shift. You could feel it. It was honestly an amazing feeling. And I've been to New Orleans before for my birthday, and I felt that feeling also. It's just like you just feel strong energy like just surrounding you, and it's just full of love and like depth, like it's old. And I can't really explain it, but if you've been to New Orleans, then you probably have felt it and you know what I'm saying. So like the first day, we got there, and this is when I recently made some beauty oil. So I brought my beauty oil to test it out with my friends and family. So I let them use it, and I used it. As soon as we got there, we showered and got ready because we knew we was hitting the strip, So that night was actually very, very magical. We had girls trip type of vibes. We were just so in love with ourselves, with the environment around us. It was just all new, and it was so many doors were opening for us. It just happened instantly. People were just so kind to us, with greetings, with compliments, etc. And of course, I was protected. Before y'all get started, we were all protected. But yeah, so that was an amazing first day experience. So good that the following day, the next day, we tried to recreate that. So we tried to, do all of that. But mind you, we were all drained out from the night prior. So we were trying to force the same energy we had last night that came so effortlessly. And it was a complete dub. It was a horrible night. I wouldn't say horrible, but it was just not it. We ended up just coming back home and going to bed. And I pulled cards before we went. Me and my sister pulled cards. And I can't remember what cards I pulled, but I didn't really understand it. And it was more so because I didn't want to understand. And it was basically telling me I needed to rest. It had something to do with the 7. I think it was 7 of Swords or something. But we kept seeing signs throughout the day that went horrible. It was like 7s were everywhere because we were confused because we didn't ground ourselves. So we were seeing 7s, not realizing what these 7s meant. And it was basically saying rest. Like on the 7th day, rest, girl. Y'all did too much yesterday. You need to rest and ground yourself. And because you're going to be confused, you're not going to know what to do. Nothing's going to feel right energetically because you need to rest. You need to recharge that energy. And we were all still confused because we wasn't paying attention to, we just thought that we could just keep going. We could keep going. We was looking for signs instead of just feeling within. And when you look for signs, you can enter psychosis easily, okay? Because we was okay, maybe that's the sign over there. And then we ended up going to this club. They wouldn't let us in. And as soon as we were just okay, they're not going to let us in. I can't remember the reason. I think it was you had to have already paid or something. So they didn't let us in, but the guy was talking to us still. And so as I'm I pressed the button on my phone to call the lift. And as soon as I purchased the lift to take us back to our hotel room, the guy was oh, y'all can come in. I'll let y'all in. He let us go in for free. So that was a sign right there. We just didn't pay attention because I was now I have to cancel. But that was literally the universe saying y'all need to go home. And it was still trying to pull us in, no, come on, you can go. Even though that whole time he wasn't gonna let us in. And then he changed his mind the last minute as I purchased the lift. And so when we went in there, it was awkward ass vibes from everybody. The bartender didn't even look our way. We tried to get her multiple times, and we were whatever, we're not meant to drink here. So we just danced and weird vibe. So that ended up closing, and so we were trying to go to a different club. But this club we went into, it was a younger crowd. And baby, I'm 30. I don't like the younger crowd. I love y'all, but as a 30-year-old, I like to be amongst my people. It's just a different vibe. That's all it is. And so it was a younger crowd, and there was a line, and it was just like, it was a lot, and I got overstimulated, and I kept feeling very, very anxious. There was nothing wrong with the place, nothing at all. It wasn't like I had this, internal vision that something was gonna happen wrong. I have anxiety, and whenever my anxiety flares up that bad, it's because that I need to ground myself, and I'm confused, and I don't know, and I can't trust my instincts. And so that's what was happening, and I was trying to do breath work in line, and my sister could just see it on my face, because I have a look on my face when I get real anxious. I look mean as hell. I just be like looking real angry. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I feel a little anxious, but I'm trying to breathe through it." And my friend and my sister were like, "No, let's just go." So we got out of line, and we called the lift to go back to our hotel room. And this is when we saw signs, because my sister's favorite number is 23 and mine is 9. The guy who drove us had 23 on his license plate, and he was wearing a number 9 jersey. And we were like, "Oh, this is a sign. This is a sign." Yeah, it was a sign, but it was a sign saying, "Yeah, y'all need to go home and rest." But instead, we took that as a sign like, "Oh, let's just walk the strip again." So we went there, and it wasn't as great as the first night was. It was just awkward for us, because my energy was already off. I was already anxious. So we was just like, "You know what? Let's go home." And so we walked home, or walked to the hotel, and went to sleep. Okay. So that night we realized all of what we went through was a big circle of chaos, because we didn't rest. So then we just realized okay, whenever we see 7s, that's when we know it's time to rest. So ever since then, if I see a 7, I know I'm doing too much. I can't trust myself, my intuition right now, because I need to recharge and go within instead of trying to take action and make plans. Okay, but that was just the second night. The third day, I think, is when we actually went to the Essence Fest event, and we went shopping, and that was a beautiful day, because we actually took that morning to ground ourselves, take the morning very slowly, drink some coffee, journal, just completely vibe. So we were well rested energetically to go out and have fun. But we noticed there was this woman that we saw day 1, day 2, and day 3, and nobody said anything to each other. We just all had our own internal interpretations of what we saw. And there was this woman, it was a black woman, but she looked gray. Okay. And I'm somebody, every time I see someone, I always smile at them, especially when it's, my people. I'd be like, "Oh, hey girl," So I saw this woman multiple times. The first time I saw her, we were passing, and I looked at her. So I was like, "Oh, it's rude. I need to smile now." So I smiled at her, and she just looked at me. She didn't make any emotional change on her face. It stayed the exact same, and this woman looked gray, and I was kind of thrown aback, not because she needed to smile at me, because that happens to me all the time. Some people don't be in the mood to smile, or they don't register quick enough to smile back. So I was I didn't care if she didn't smile back. That's just something I do. I don't expect anything in return. But what I did notice is that there was kind of nothing behind her eyes. That's what I noticed. I was like, that was weird. She seemed very emotionless, and the way she moved, the way she walked was like a ghost. She swayed, and she walked really slow. She talked really slow too, because we heard her talk. And all of us had our own, thought process going on when we saw this same woman. And it was just very awkward, because it's I can sense energy, and it's she ain't really have none, or it was kind of dark energy, and she just seems soulless. I don't want to say that, but that's what she seemed. She seemed like, if you ever seen Get Out, how they in there but they not in there. That's how it felt. She was lost somewhere, but someone else was controlling her. And afterwards, after the entire trip, we all I forgot who pointed it out. I think it was my friend. She was like, "So did anybody notice that lady?" And we were all like, "Bro." Apparently, I only paid attention to her. All the times that I seen her, she had the same expression. The second day I saw her, I kind of forgot that I smiled at her the first time and she didn't smile back. So when I saw her the second day, I was like, oh, she looks familiar. So I smiled at her again and noticed it was the same exact emotion. Like she looked at me, but she didn't have anything behind her eyes. And she was like moving really slow, really like, it was crazy. But my friend noticed that she had a man with her the entire time. He wasn't walking directly next to her. He would always be like a few steps behind her. And she said he seemed completely normal. So our theory is that maybe he put the spell over her, and maybe it was a situation like where, maybe she wanted to have a life of luxury because he was taking her shopping and stuff. Like she was at the mall there in New Orleans and she was at the Essence Fest buying things, but she was just like kind of not there. And we just kind of concluded like maybe she wanted that life, not realizing that he was probably some warlock that put this spell on her, and now she gone. But that was the craziest experience, because I know they say a lot of stuff happens in New Orleans, but to actually witness it is crazy. But the second to last day of our trip, we did decide to go to some spiritual shops. I did a lot of research on what shops I wanted to go to. So I had specifically one that I wanted to go to because I wanted specific things. And, I can feel energy through the screen. When I be looking at people, I'll be like, oh, they look trustworthy. They look like they know what they're talking about. But as we were walking there, they ended up being closed. And like they didn't open until an hour later. So we were like, okay, we'll just walk around and look at other stuff. So we went into another spiritual shop that I didn't do any research about. We just went in, and I'm somebody who, I don't know, it just didn't feel real. It felt very, and when I walked in, I didn't feel nothing. It just felt like they just had this fake voodoo decor up, and it was not giving anything. But I was thinking that I was like, this don't feel like nothing up in here. But my sister, she was like, oh, I think maybe this is real. Like this is because as soon as I walked in, she had like something going on with her head, like tingling in her head and stuff. And she just associated with it probably being like a really spiritual shop. But the crazy thing is that there is, out of nowhere, this woman came out the back and she was just talking, and then she kept saying, oh, I love your outfit, to my sister. And she was like, oh, thank you. And then she was like, do you know like what outfit, like what brand it is, because I want to look them up. And she was like, oh, I don't, but like you can look at the tag. And so the lady like touched my sister to look at the tag. And when we were done, my sister, like when we end up leaving, my sister said as soon as she touched me, that like that feeling in my head went completely away. But the thing is, she also touched my friend, because her and my friend were like having a funny little conversation about sports, because my friend watches football, and the Falcons and the Saints are rivals. So like they had like a funny back and forth, but they were just joking. It was clearly obviously a joke. Everybody was laughing. And as soon as we were getting ready to leave, the lady grabbed my friend's arm and was like, oh, I just want to let you know that I was just like joking back there. Like I didn't know if you were like, if you thought I was serious about all of that. And it was very weird because it was clearly very lighthearted. It was nothing that anybody took the wrong way. You couldn't even pretend, like you couldn't even, I don't know, even somebody who is a people pleaser and anxious, because I am a former people pleaser and I am an anxious person. I be second guessing conversations all the time. I didn't get nothing from that because my friend is very lighthearted. So for her to go out her way to grab her arm and hold on to it and say that, I just didn't feel right with people touching my peoples. So when we left, we did a little cleanse on both of them, and I like sprayed them down with, because I keep that Florida water on me. Okay, but I sprayed them down and stuff, and they sprayed themselves down so they could get rid of whatever the hell she was trying to do, because I just felt like that was weird. But then we ended up going to my place, the one I wanted to go to. Mind you, this was a white woman. She was into Wiccan, and I respect people who stay in their heritage, so that's why I wanted to go there. And she was in the occults, and I had specific things that I wanted to buy, and this girl was cool. So when she first started, she still wasn't open, but I respect spiritual people who be moving on their own time, because it's like time isn't real, and I'm not gonna rush just because I have customers. Because listen, if you are a true spiritualist, then you know the customers are going to come regardless of when you're ready to open. So we waited on her, and she finally ended up opening up the shop, and she was quiet. She didn't say much. She was just like setting up her stuff, and we just walked in and let her do her thing, and I was just looking around. So in my head, I already knew what I wanted. So I went to the things that I wanted to buy, and I picked them up, and I was looking at the incense that I wanted to get, and it was like the loose incense powder. And in my head, I was like, I wonder how I'm going to burn this, because it's loose. It's not like a stick or like a cone where I could just light it and it burns. It's loose. So it's like, I've never had that before. So this is all in my head. And I'm like, oh, well, I watched a video on a content creator talking about how they do it. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll just do it that way. And this is all in my head, right? So after I grabbed all of that, I was, secure, like, okay, I'll just do it that way, whatever. As soon as we're getting ready to check out, the owner, she was just like, oh yeah, and that so-and-so, and she said the lady, the content creator that I was thinking about, she said their name out loud. She was like, yeah, you don't want to do it that way. Here, I'm gonna show you exactly how you want to use this incense. And she pulled some out that she had, and she showed me exactly how to push it together and light it in order for me to like burn the loose incense. And everybody's jaw dropped when I told them when we left, because they heard her say that, but they thought that I probably pulled her to a side and like talked to her, but I didn't speak to her at all until it was checkout time. And it's like her whole personality opened up as I was checking out. Before, she was just quiet, moving. She reminded me of Edna, like from The Incredibles. Like, she was just moving around, doing her stuff in her busy mode. And then as soon as we checked out, it was just like a whole bubble opened up. And she was like, oh yeah, and by the way, let me da 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 da. And she was very bubbly and very kind. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, because I read her energy as being that, even though she wasn't presenting as that. And that's why I'm so glad I trusted my energy as opposed to like trusting reality and what was happening in that moment, because her personality like opened up completely, and she was very kind. And actually what's crazy is she had reviews on people talking about like she wasn't kind, but I think the reason that they said she wasn't kind is because she puts that guard up to make sure like the people coming in aren't on that BS, so I respect her. But that is pretty much the entire thing. But I will say, to the entire time we were there on our road trip back, we had spiritual awakenings. We also did the absinthe. We drank the absinthe there to like get deeper into our dreams. We walked around a haunted hotel, and you could feel the energy in there. It was crazy. I didn't see anything, but I felt the energy, and it wasn't negative energy. I'm just a spooky person, so I was real scared. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but I felt the energy in there, and I'm glad I went, because I'm trying to get out of my fear of the unknown and like truly know myself. So that was a fun experience in the end. And also, we were all vibrating on the same energy. Like my friend and my sister and I, it's like one person would think something, and out of nowhere someone would start talking about the very thing that they were speaking on, and they were like, wow, I was just thinking that. And that happened between all of us. Like, I was reading people's minds without knowing. My sister was, my friend was. It was crazy. And we still do that to this day, because we were talking about like quantum physics and how like when things that are together get separated, they still like, mimic each other. And even after the trip, my friend and my sister don't live in the same state as me. I felt I was able to read them from afar. Like, out of nowhere, I got anxious, and I'm somebody who doesn't randomly get anxious. My anxiety is usually linked to something specific, like, oh, I'm nervous about doing this speech, or like I'm nervous about X, Y, and Z. But this anxiety, I was minding my business at work, and out of nowhere, I had this gut feeling that I was anxious. Come to find out, my sister was going through like a mini anxiety attack. And because as soon as I felt that, something in me was like, call your sister. And I thought that was crazy. So we're definitely connected on a deeper level. We are definitely all spiritual sisters now. And that was the best experience I've ever had, to the point where I was like, y'all, we need to create a spiritual trip, an annual one, where we pick different places in the United States or outside the United States that are known to be spiritual spots, and go there and just like embrace it and learn from it and grow and dive even deeper in our spiritual journeys, because that was the best. That was the best experience ever. I would do it again. I want to go back again. And it is something that you really can't put into words unless you experience it, especially like trying to explain this. I'm sure with you guys, you're clicked on it, so you're already like in your spiritual journey, so you understand what I'm talking about. But telling someone else like, hey, yo, we met a zombie, or we were all aligned and reading each other's minds, it's like, oh, well, that could just be a coincidence. Or are you sure she wasn't just on drugs? I got that a lot. And it's just like, no, I know the difference between somebody on drugs and somebody who looked like they ain't really there for real. But I wanted to share this because that was an amazing experience. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love to know down in the comments, what are some spiritual experience that you have like had with yourself, with others, that if you have any spiritual friends, anything like spiritual related, like crazy that anybody else would think you were crazy, that you know happened to you and you believe it wholeheartedly. I want to know down in the comments, because I'm gonna validate you. Okay, if nobody gonna validate you, I will, because I believe you. My name is Elle. For those of you who are new, I am a spiritual creative. This is my spiritual channel. I also have a creative channel, and I also have a Patreon where I dive even deeper on spirituality and creativity. So all of that will be linked down in the description below, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.